The desert wind carried dust across the Arizona frontier as Jacob Miller guided his horse through a narrow canyon. Returning from delivering supplies, he noticed fresh hoofprints ending abruptly near dangerous cliffs. Curious, he followed them carefully until a faint cry echoed between towering rocks, breaking the afternoon silence with desperate urgency and unmistakable fear. Hidden beneath fallen branches lay a young Apache woman with an injured leg. Nearby, frightened horses had fled after a rockslide trapped her alone. Jacob quickly cleared heavy stones despite exhausting heat. She watched cautiously, expecting another enemy, yet his actions revealed compassion instead of hostility or selfish intentions toward her. After freeing her, Jacob carefully wrapped the injured leg using clean cloth from his saddlebag. He offered water without demanding gratitude. The woman quietly introduced herself as Nayeli. Although weak from pain, she insisted her family would search nearby before sunset. Jacob promised he would stay until help safely arrived there. Hours passed without anyone appearing. Realizing darkness approached quickly, Jacob built a small fire and prepared simple food from his travel supplies. Nayeli explained that she had gathered medicinal herbs when frightened horses caused the accident. She thanked Jacob sincerely, admitting many strangers might have simply ridden away instead of stopping. Just before sunrise, distant voices echoed through the canyon. Apache riders appeared cautiously, bows ready, until Nayeli called out. Relief instantly replaced suspicion. Her older brother rushed forward while tribal elders listened carefully as she described everything Jacob had done. Every word reflected honesty, courage, and kindness, freely given without expecting anything. Rather than treating Jacob as an outsider, the elders invited him to their village. Unsure whether accepting seemed wise, he nevertheless followed respectfully. Children smiled curiously while elders welcomed him beside a peaceful campfire. Jacob realized stories he had always heard about fear and division ignored the humanity standing before him. During several days among the tribe, Jacob learned traditional tracking, horse care, and water conservation techniques perfectly suited for harsh desert life. In return, he repaired broken farming tools and helped strengthen damaged corrals. Mutual respect slowly replaced unfamiliarity, creating friendships neither side had ever imagined possible before meeting unexpectedly together. One evening, the tribal chief addressed everyone gathered around the fire. He praised Jacob for risking his own safety to save Nayeli without asking payment or reward. "A brave heart deserves friendship," the chief declared. The village honored Jacob with a handcrafted blanket, symbolizing trust, gratitude, and lasting peace between neighbors. As Jacob prepared to leave, Nayeli walked beside him toward the canyon trail, smiling warmly. She said, "My people never forget kindness." Jacob tipped his hat respectfully before riding away, believing the experience itself had already changed his life forever. He never imagined their gratitude would soon return in extraordinary ways beyond expectation. Watching the village disappear behind distant hills, Jacob carried more than supplies home. He carried new understanding. The rescue had begun as one stranger helping another survive. Yet somewhere beyond the desert horizon, fate quietly prepared another chapter, proving one selfless act could transform countless lives in ways impossible to predict. Several weeks later, Jacob's ranch faced the worst drought anyone could remember. Streams dried into cracked earth, cattle weakened, and neighboring ranchers prepared abandoning their land. Despite endless searching, nobody discovered fresh water. Jacob refused surrender, though hope disappeared with every scorching sunrise across the empty valley and surrounding hills. One afternoon, Nayeli arrived with several Apache scouts carrying supplies instead of weapons. Remembering Jacob's kindness, the tribe offered assistance immediately. Their experienced trackers led ranchers through hidden desert trails until they discovered an ancient spring concealed beneath thick brush. The precious water source had remained unknown to settlers for generations nearby. Working together, ranchers and Apache families built channels carrying fresh water across fields before livestock suffered further losses. Everyone labored from sunrise until moonlight, sharing tools, food, and encouragement. Former strangers now trusted each other completely, realizing survival depended more upon cooperation than old fears or unnecessary prejudice between neighboring communities. News spread quickly throughout surrounding territories. Curious travelers visited Jacob's ranch, expecting conflict, but instead witnessed remarkable friendship. Newspapers even described how compassion between one rancher and one Apache woman had united divided communities. Many readers dismissed the story as impossible, yet everyone living nearby knew every word reflected undeniable truth. Months later, ruthless cattle thieves targeted the valley, believing peaceful neighbors would prove easy victims. Under darkness, the gang attempted stealing horses from several ranches simultaneously. Before panic spread, Apache scouts spotted suspicious tracks and warned Jacob. Together, they organized a careful defense, protecting every family without unnecessary violence or revenge. The sheriff arrived with deputies, just as the thieves attempted escaping. Guided by Apache trackers and local ranchers, lawmen quickly surrounded every outlaw. Stolen livestock returned safely, while grateful families celebrated another victory made possible because trust had replaced suspicion. Jacob proudly acknowledged everyone shared equal credit for protecting their peaceful valley together. As seasons changed, friendships deepened naturally. Children from ranch families learned traditional tracking and respect for nature from Apache elders. Meanwhile, Apache youngsters studied reading, mathematics, and ranch skills with local teachers. Both communities discovered that exchanging knowledge strengthened everyone without diminishing cherished traditions or cultural identity passed through generations with pride. During the annual harvest celebration, the tribal chief invited Jacob before the gathered crowd. Holding a beautifully carved eagle feather staff, he declared, "You saved one life expecting nothing. Today, you have become family to us all." The valley echoed with heartfelt applause as Jacob accepted the honor with humble gratitude. Nayeli smiled proudly while standing beside her family. "You once believed our gratitude would end with words," she reminded Jacob gently. "Instead, it became friendship lasting generations." Jacob laughed warmly, realizing the greatest reward had never been recognition. It was discovering that compassion could erase barriers fear had built for decades between neighbors. Years afterward, travelers crossing Arizona still heard the remarkable tale of the rancher who saved an Apache woman from certain death. They remembered not only his courage, but the extraordinary friendship that followed. One selfless decision transformed enemies into neighbors, strangers into family, and an entire valley into a lasting symbol of hope.